alleviate some of the intensity. And say, it's okay. They know who she is. But does she know who you are? Because you gotta stop being so cute. Let's go. You know her, kiss it. You guys are too cute.
Aren't they?
They're too cute.
Ladies.
Is that better? Break. Good, break. Good. Blue, break. Good.
So I guess all the dogs get together over the holidays.
Nice.
And there's been some
What a good group of dogs, huh?
resource guarding.
Right there.
Yep, I saw it too.
It's okay, Ruby. I'm trying to.
On River. River was getting
Ruby, I'm
tense.
just telling her. She still needs to know when I'm saying back up, because this girl was the first in all the interactions so far. We already knew this was gonna happen. She's the one that showed dominance right now. So, you know, what kind of stuff are they doing together? Just hikes?
Family get-togethers over the holidays. So probably
The most likely
chaos. Probably kids running around, lots of people, food,
Yeah.
resources. I've already given them instructions, no more feeding in bowls next to each other. They're all going to be eating in crates with the door shut. So, yeah, in the past, they've wanted to let them all off leash. And of course, our graduates do fine. They could never let her off leash. So now they will.
Okay. Very nice. So this is what it really comes down to. I know they don't live together, but you know, I have dog friends too, that me and my boys back in New York would go hang out with, and they're males, and you know, we had the same thing going on. So what we would do is we would make sure that we had rituals first when they first got together, just kind of like exactly what we just did here. We brought them together. I had an experience with each of them separately, besides Ruby, because I know her, she's been here. I refreshed so that I knew she would listen to me and that she would listen to me. And then I let Ruby out and I taught them to don't go up on each other. And then I released them and we we look at the interactions to see if there's anything there, which there was here. And then what you do is you correct, you give everybody space to calm down, and you let them back at it. These guys aren't, you know, I mean, it's safe enough, but you have to be doing it like it's work first, you know? So if there's a party, I would get them together before the party, do this stuff, go on a hike, get them acclimated to one another, and then when you go to the party, what you're gonna have to look out for is resources. It's really hard. Obvious ones are food and toys, but the least obvious ones are people and places, like my spot next to him or on this bed over here. So the cure for that really is structure. It really is. And the way that we do it, and it's not easy. It's really not easy. I mean, it is easy, but it's not easy, and here's why it's not easy. Technically, it's easy, but it's not easy when you're at a party, because now not only do you have to hold your dogs accountable, you have to advocate for them. So I don't know what your family's like, but what I do with my family, if I'm having my dog out and I need them to be on the place bed or something, I let everybody know, don't touch the dog while they're on the place bed. If I catch somebody doing it, I'll tell them not to. If I catch them doing it twice, I'm gonna let them know. I really am. And so, you know, people know me with my dogs. Like if I say you can, if they're free, and say, hey, go ahead, you know. But if I've set a rule, you know, I'm willing to ruin the barbecue, you know. But then next time we come, the next time we do the event, it's better. And we're looking out for them. So, hey, they're satisfied. They're all in their places next to each other. Don't touch the dog. There's a lot missing in relationship. I can see that trouble is there, and it's through softness and probably not enough correct and direct in the moments that are needed. Her position in her pack, in her eyes, is a dangerous one to let her live in, especially as she gets older. So I foresee if we do zero work that she's gonna start a fight. Or she's going to finish a fight, or something's going to happen with this dog. The cure for that is the relationship with their human, their pack leader. You can really affect a dog so strongly with that relationship if you know what you're doing, where they won't fuck up at a party, you know? But if you're struggling at home a little bit, or in like any environment where it's like slightly distracting, there's going to be bad things are going to happen at the party. It is. And I mean, if I'm a betting man, I would say that bad things are going to happen, especially if you had other dogs. Especially if there's oh, now this guy brought a dog, you know? It's like, you are playing with the stories that we hear all the time. They got along and then all of a sudden they fucking tore each other up. And it's like, yeah, they're dogs. And I seen it right there. That's a fight what I seen. That was a fight. It didn't go there because I jumped in on it. And maybe it wouldn't go there because she'd back down. But if neither of them back down, you know how nature works. It's a fight. So if you really want them to be tight, they got to spend time with each other and they got to know that it's not a game. Okay? So do that before the party. Get together with, I know this brother and sister, right? Get together, go on hikes, and then when you come back into a room, make sure you let them know to give each other space. Okay? Here's an exercise that you can do that's practical that will give you what you need. Okay? You know about structure. I don't need to go on about structure. Put the dogs in place, put the dogs in a kennel, use heel, use recall, use stays. You know how to do that. Here's what I do. Here's what I'm going to do to teach these dogs in a pack. A quick way to teach them how we go about being around resources. A very strong motivator for each one of these dogs is a person. Okay? A person who's given their attention to the animals. They can identify that in a heartbeat, right? They can tell out of 10 people, this one's squatting over and wants interaction. Let's do it. Right? What do they need to learn? If I'm interacting with one of them, the other two need to keep their distance. Right? Sounds easy? It's not. It will be easier for me because I have a training relationship with these dogs, so the dynamic is like, you know, definitely a leader. They don't see any flaws in my game because I'm paid to do this, so there's no flaw in my leadership role with them, right? Not saying there's not any with my personal dogs sometimes, because life's life, but with them, other than the girl I didn't train, they see me one particular way. They haven't seen another side of me where I've slipped up multiple times or something, so unbelievable. Break.
Woo! Good girls! Ladies!
Let's see choices. Good. Who do I have here? This is you. Oops. Look at the choice after the correction. Now let's add a resource in. Hi.
The resource being affection. Blue's trying to steal it.
Yes, even though she's sweet. Hi.
This one's staying away because she got corrected.
She already knows. So my guess is that I'm seeing when I was interacting with her, I'm like, that's a pretty darn good dog. Like this dog
Very
seems to
sweet.
be pretty good. But if you need to have a relationship like I started to create, I don't know this dog. I had 2 interactions with her. It was less than 5 minutes, and that dog has quite a bit of respect for me. And it wasn't even much. All I did was pet her sister, and she tried to come up, and I corrected her and sent her away. Pet her sister, she tried to come up, I corrected her, sent away. She patiently waited. When I was done with her sister, I said break, and she could come over. So she knows, like, okay, this guy's cool, but he sets boundaries and he's serious about it.
Oh my god.
So, you gotta have a tight ship. You just gotta have a tight ship, otherwise things are gonna happen. And you have to be able to read what's like, okay, so we know that she bullies, right? That's what you told me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that she bullies, which means plural. It only takes 1-2 times of correcting that bully, and if you do it right, it's over. If it's backed up by somebody who's had those conversations with her in the past, correct the nonsense, move on. Let's see how this goes here. Break. I'm gonna get her close here. Let me make sure I got the right one. You got 2 meter notes. That's you. That's you. Okay. Break. Come here, Ruby. I know. I told you. This is a see. She won't do it.
She's scared.
Come here, Ruby. It's okay. Ruby.
She's been put in her place before
Ruby,
by
come here.
River.
Come here. It's okay, Ruby. It's okay. You trust me. Good.
River's only job
Good.
is to give space.
Now I'm putting River in a position. Here, I know, Ruby. You know I got you, right? I got you. Home life. I don't know what's up, but I know. She likes me because I can keep her calm. So she's like, you are awesome because you can keep that one. And that's what we need, stability. What we really need is to make one sound and everybody stops what they're doing and calms down. If we don't have that, then things will fall apart at a party, okay? How to simulate it. And you don't have to do it together every time. These guys live together and she doesn't live with them, but they get together sometimes. Get them in a very playful state. Get them going, get them chaotic. I don't know, somewhere safe for the fence, maybe even in your living room or in your backyard. And then make a sound. And if they don't calm down immediately, they're in trouble. and then once everybody calms down, release, play again for a while, let the adrenaline go up, one sound, everybody calms down. That's important because dogs get into adrenaline and they don't know how to go back to calm. So you're practicing it before the real deal, right? By allowing the minds to get elevated, making a sound, everybody drops and goes calm, which you see in our videos all the time. You're gonna need that when you get a pack of dogs together. I don't go out into this yard with 10, 12 dogs or more sometimes, and not one dog is out there that I can't and they all calm down. Not one, right? So that's what you need over top of everything. Good girl. We have our commands, we have our training, but the relationship that we have with our dog needs to be one of, if we make a certain noise, they know that it's not a game and they listen. Even under environments that are very distracting. Okay? Practice at home. Create. See, I'm telling her to stop moving. I'm just shushing. What does that mean? How does she know to sit down? You didn't tell her to sit, you didn't tell her down. I'm disagreeing with her. So shush means, in the beginning, it means I don't like what you're doing, but because I follow through with my corrections, they all end up calming down, and that's when I leave them alone. They understand that when you shush, the mind needs to go with it. So after I shush, if I correct and the dog still, I walk them down until they go into this state, and then I leave them alone. Soon I don't have to do that. I just shush and they go there, okay? That's going to keep everybody civil because they get to calm mind and then we can direct those minds. What's going to be chaotic is if they're all crazy and all of a sudden we can't get them to calm down, right? You're recalling them, but they can't even hear you because they're just going crazy. Even through the beat, they need to be so sensitive to the fact, they need to understand that within their pack, at any moment, their leader can make a noise that means to stop what you're doing, come to me and relax. Okay, so practice that before the party, and then again, go to the party early and let them get familiar with the place and the rules of the place before it gets too crowded. And then the other tip is to utilize your structure. Okay, I'm not gonna, I know that it's a party. I know it's a family get together, and I know how that goes. But what you can do is you can use structure to make sure that there's no bump-ins with the dogs that aren't wanted, right? That we're not observing. So when we're not watching the dogs, then it's like, okay, like directly doing something with them, I should say. Then we're, no. Where are you?
That's fine.
Too many.
It's the other, that one.
Good. Pestering me. So this dog used to bark at her owner for demand and whimper and whine. She's not doing that around me, so she said, I'll just tug on your sleeve by licking on you. Said, hey, pay attention to me, pay attention to me. That needs to get corrected in my relationship with my dog because I want control. That gives me an opportunity to put her in her place every time she does that. But every time I listen to her, it tells her that you can tell me what to do, but I can't tell you what to do. And it just reinforces that relationship. Then you go out in the world and it's like, we can't do anything. Hey, look at my dog, isn't she pretty? No, I can't do anything with her, but she's pretty, right? That's what it ends up being. So you gotta toughen up your character. And if you said, aw, because I corrected her for licking me, then your dog's gonna struggle. And I feel bad for the dog. And I'm not talking to this owner particularly because I don't even know them, but this is just, I see this over and over and over again. I know the general view out there, and the general view is she was licking me, I corrected her, and it's awe. And I'll tell you what, that point of view is what gets dogs injured. That's what gets, and a shitty life because they can't do anything. They can't even go for a walk. They can't do anything. The leader has boundaries and has rules for a reason, and this is so that she doesn't think that when I'm talking to a human in a world that is run by humans, that she can come tug my sleeve. That is a terrible relationship to have with her and expect to be able to go and do things with her. That right there is part of her core issue. All right? She wants a relationship where she can manipulate the human. Shut that stuff down. Create the relationship where you're leading and she's following. It's not the relationship where she's the democracy of her chipping into saying where we're going and what we're doing. You understand what I'm saying? Like if she thinks she's equal to you in this hierarchy, it doesn't work. You will run into times where then you say, I want to go this way, and she says, I want to go this way. You debate about it, and then one of you wins, but still, just the fact that she's entitled to that debate is why she's struggling. Put the dog in the back seat. Don't let her be a passenger driver and have her follow you through the world and through her life. The best way to do this, and it goes for all these dogs, is correcting them when they're trying to manipulate or when they're trying to lead or when they're not listening. Anything that's stepping on your leadership, correct that. It's more about correcting that and then directing versus the other way around, which everyone wants to do, is direct the dog to death. You know, just let the dog make these little mistakes, correct them, direct them, and then let them free again. And the dog stops making the mistakes and they're not frustrated. Okay? I hope this makes sense. Definitely look out for this girl. She showed dominance towards her. She threatened her, is what she did. She came over to sniff because I was asking everybody to come over. And if I could use blunt language, she said, "What the fuck are you doing? Stepping up on me." That's what it said for a split second. And then I corrected with my sound, which shuts everything down. And then I calmed everybody down to reset and she didn't do it again. But that does not mean she's not going to do it as soon as I'm not here. It's relationship based. Dogs go off in the relationship of the pack members around them and of the environment around them, okay? So if there's somebody in the room that she knows will hold her accountable heavily for even thinking that way, she won't do it.
Same with a classroom full of kids with a substitute teacher.
Brilliant. Don't be the substitute teacher, guys. Come on. I know it's fun. See, the thing about the substitute teachers, it's fun. It's like, we talked about this in the last video. It's like you're going to get one of two things. You're either going to get control of your dog or you're going to have the comfort of it being fun. But you're not going to get both of them. You know, you got to choose sometimes. And if there's a moment where your gut tells you need control, don't choose the comfort. Don't take that easy way out by, you tell her no and she kind of like gives you some pretty look and then you go soft on her. Now she's like, I can do bad things. I can bully these dogs and then I can just charm my way out of a real consequence. Sure, they might be a little disappointed. Sure, they might give me a mild correction, but they didn't set the tone so that I say to myself, how can I avoid that for the rest of my life? That's what I feel like I would need to do. I need to do with that. Any dog that has that type of attitude towards other dogs that want to set boundaries, they know that it's not worth them to do it in the presence of me, which is their leader at the time. That's what you need. So if the owner of this dog has that, then we're going to be in a lot better position. If they don't, if this dog looks at that owner as inconsistent, they'll gamble. So inconsistency we got to work for. Every trainer says this since the beginning of time. You got to be consistent. Well, the thing is if she can sometimes get away with things, then she's going to gamble and say, is this one of those times I can get away with it? So that's the thing. We got to be consistent. It is the best version of the dog. The entitlement, the pushiness, the brattiness, everything's better. Her walk's better. Everything's better. It's not about her knowledge of the commands. It's her dynamic in her pack. I say this over and over again because it's true. Dogs act how they're allowed to act within their pack, okay? So if somebody really said, like for example, if you said, here, have this dog, she's yours, Josh. And in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, you're gonna be like, that dog is, look at what she's doing. I couldn't believe she could do that. She's not starting any fight. She's being polite. She's being soft with dogs because all of a sudden there's somebody who's living with her who's now taking priority to correcting that bullshit. You gotta do it while they're young. She's 2, she ain't young anymore. That's an adult now who still has these issues and it could have been corrected out of her by now. And who knows when it started. It starts when they get older. By a year and a half, 2 years, you're gonna start seeing it. That's totally predictable with all dogs. So if we don't imprint on them and let them know, you don't use your teeth on other animals. Otherwise you have me to deal with. That's how they do it with each other. That is how they create harmony in the pack, and that is why there's harmony in our society. Because there's real consequences that we want to avoid for doing them. So if you're up to the task, set up situations where she misbehaves and correct her in a way that she realizes this isn't a game. And then guess what? Reset and do it again. And you're going to see your girl here decide not to do that stuff. And when she decides not to do that stuff, you say good. Okay? As far as Ruby, because she's the one that's actually here doing the training, she manipulates too. Right? I love Ruby, but I know her, she's sneaky, right? Like, she'll tell you one thing and then she's gonna go do something else. Like, her body language will be like, oh, I'm right here. And then you'll walk a few more feet and she's like, now I'm running away. That is unfaithful. Here's a cool thing. That character is just a product of what the environment allows. So now, since she's been here, that's how she was when she first got here. Since she's been here, I feel such a loyalty from her. I feel so comfortable with her to let her up there in the house without a long line or anything, even without a leash, as long as she got a collar on around my kid with all the doors open, we can come and go. She doesn't, even think about leaving. It's not even part of her, it's not part of her dynamic with us, right? Because of the way we dealt with it. So I can trust her now. All of a sudden, the dog who was literally being so unfaithful that she can't enjoy her life is now being super loyal and finding the benefits of being loyal and starting to live in that place, that dynamic with humans. So I talk about it a lot, man. The commands are great, and everybody comes here because the commands, they think it's the commands, but on top of the commands is the relationship dynamic and the pack, okay? If that's shit, it doesn't matter how good the commands are. The dog's still gonna be shaky and, you know, a liability, honestly. So overall, all these dogs are good, but good dogs can start trouble too, and often do. Okay, we've had a long enough break here. We're gonna release them and see what they do. We're gonna let them outside. Break. Good job, Blue. Break. Come on, Blue. Break the deal. Good, good, good. Now look, these are risks that you have to take. It's real life here, so who do I have here? You take Blue, okay? Is that Blue?
Yeah,
okay.
she's the easiest one.
She's been so good. This is Rubes, and this, okay, so look. Perfect. Perfect. All right. I'm just checking the lights here. Okay, make sure. This is Rube, this is you. Stay. I'm sorry, you might have to scooch. Sparky's like, why am I not part of this party? Break. Now let's see what happens. Good girls. Good. You see this?
Yeah.
Good. That was nice. And look how much better she feels. I'm just looking at lights here, honey. I just always check to make sure we got the right doggies. Good. That was an interesting moment because Ruby sniffed and she allowed her to do it. That's huge. That's big. Big, big, big. Great. Look at Ruby. She's just concerned about doing the right thing. She's being a good girl. She's not nagging on me. Good. She's politely, you know, wanting attention, but she's not nagging on me. I like that. Great. Go potty. My girl. Look, y'all might get along. And now, listen, if Ruby sees it as weakness and we start to see Ruby being a little pushy, we have to correct Ruby, right? That creates the balance, okay? This dog just made very good choices. I'm very impressed with her.
Put them all in place.
Sit. Can you guys can you take direction together? Instantly ignoring over here with this dog. Sit. Good, that one too. Blue, sit. Good.
The one in the board and train sits immediately.
So that's just let's put a pin in that. But the thing is that is why we would have problems out in the world. Dogs are totally disconnected compared to her. Break. Do you see how long it took me to do that potty? Man, that sucks, right? When it's real life. Guess what? Not taking our time in those moments and rewarding the pushiness leaves the dog like that. And now we're living with a dog. Dogs who are pushy like that, who aren't fully paying attention. Good. Place. Let's see what happens here. Ruby's a smart dog. Blue's smart too. I'm not saying anything about you guys. I just noticed that she's very, I guess smart's not the word I'm looking for, although she is smart. She's very socially aware. She's always looking at the humans. Good. I know she was a barker before at the humans, but just testing me, buddy. Okay. Let's get the big girl on one. River. Great. Good job. Okay. Show you. Good girl. A commitment.
So much work
Love,
went into that.
love, love.
So much work went into
Good.
that one little thing. She wasn't going to do that
Good.
before training.
Every dog has things that they don't, things that are harder for them or whatever. Not that it was hard for her. It's just all dogs who don't. That's just a form of submission that dogs don't want to give. It's a level. Okay, it's a level of submission they're not willing to give. Okay, so I'm willing to be on the bed, but some dogs aren't willing to stay. All right, that's a level of submission they just say I'm not willing to give. That's a conversation, by the way. You could take that conversation and get the submission, but no one does, right? Another one is I'll be on the bed, but I won't lay down. You know. Another one is I'll be on the bed, but I won't relax. You know.
Barks.
And she used, yeah, so yeah, I know you said that, you know, you put her on the place bed, she just barks at people to let her off. Again, you know, all I can say about that is that's conditioned. She didn't come out of her mama's womb saying, I bark when I'm put on place. That was conditioned. She tried a response and it worked, so therefore she uses that. If the first time she tried to bark, there was an aversive outcome and she linked it to the barking, guess who wouldn't bark anymore? I know it sounds silly, but that is how it works. That is literally how raising a dog works.